From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. The post-conviction relief case for the group of men known as the Fbx Four continued today in Superior Court with more witnesses from the state.
That's right. It was day 2 of the state's case, and we have more now in this report.
The state continued this morning with more witnesses in an attempt to uphold the convictions of the group of men known as the Fbx Four.
No illegal conduct.
I saw a car that was sitting on the side, on the top of a sidewalk, and guys that looked very guilty.
With more testimony from a cab driver who says she had a, quote, crazy story to tell about what she saw on the night of Hartman's murder.
You said in response to Ms. Bachman's question that things are not always what they seem. They may be innocent.
Yeah.
But her story has had many gaps, especially with the evidence that actually convicted the men. Today she testified she couldn't recollect if it was indeed 9th or 10th Avenue where they were parked, and swore the vehicle was driven by Kevin Pease. Furthermore, Robert's car, that authorities have had impounded as the suspect vehicle for 18 years now, is a blue 2-door, not the beige 4-door that she said she saw that night.
Not my position to say these guys are guilty. I never, in all these years, said they were guilty. All I said was I saw something, and that something meant something. It's been plaguing me all these years.
So you saw a tan 4-door car on the corner of 9th and Barnett.
Could have been 9th or 10th.
Another man, Harold Lundy's testimony, placed Jason Wallace inside of the vehicle where another man, Scott Davidson, says they were confessed to about the Hartman murder just days after it happened. But it wasn't what Wallace said about Hartman that the state presented this morning. It was all about what he didn't. Called to testify from Spain was the prosecutor who tried Bill Holmes for a double homicide in California.
The same suitcase held the defendant's shoes, a jacket, jeans, and cap, all blood-stained.
It was a multi-state murder conspiracy between both Wallace and Holmes that landed them in jail. Much like this case, Wallace was granted immunity for his testimony against Holmes.
If it's a co-defendant who's cooperating under an immunity agreement, right?
Sometimes we have to make a deal with the devil, as they say.
The state has made their stance known. Holmes didn't confess in that earlier crime to knowledge of Hartman, and according to them, that makes his confession this time not credible.
As you pointed out earlier, defense attorneys don't always get all the information from their own clients. So,
this is Stephanie Woodard reporting.
The second suspect in a drive-by shooting that occurred in the Shannon Park area on October 6th was apprehended today. 18-year-old James Arthur Allen was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals in Nashville, Tennessee. Allen was arrested on a warrant after being indicted on charges of misconduct involving weapons and assault in the 3rd degree. Allen allegedly participated in a drive-by shooting at a targeted residence with Christopher Merced, Jr. of Fort Wainwright. Merced was arrested a short time after the incident and is held at the Fairbanks Correctional Center without bail. Detective Peyton Meredith says it's up to the Fairbanks District Attorney's Office to extradite Allen to Fairbanks.
The first shooter in this case was apprehended the night this happened, and that was in part due to the efforts of not only the police officers on the scene, but also the neighbors in the Shannon Park subdivision that called 911 to report this, that work with the police. Our detectives responded out, identified that shooter, and identified really both shooters in one night. Like I said, we routinely work with the U.S. Marshal Service and other departments outside the state, and in this case it worked out great.
A Fairbanks woman that authorities have been looking for over a year has been arrested. Alaska State Troopers took 32-year-old Leslie McCraven into custody at home in North Pole on Monday. According to court records, a warrant was issued for her arrest when she failed to appear for a court hearing. In that case, she was facing charges of felony driving while intoxicated and leaving the scene of an accident. She had previously been charged with theft, and escape charges were added after it was reported that she walked away from the North Star Center. McCraven was arrested on 3 counts of failure to appear and 1 escape, and ordered jailed in lieu of $33,500.
Well, when we come back, pumpkins are everywhere this time of year, and as you'll see in our weekly health report, they are good for you.
Also, as they have done every year, the Fairbanks law enforcement agencies are looking out for the kids this Halloween with Operation Glow. Stay with us.
Welcome back. U.S. Secretary of Defense Ash Carter says he will be in the 49th state later this week. Few details have been given, but the comment came today during a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing. U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan, a member of the committee, did receive commitment from Secretary Carter to build a robust operation plan to check Russia's aggression in the Arctic and restore the United States' credibility in the region. Last week, President Obama vetoed the National Defense Authorization Act, which contained an amendment put forth by Senator Sullivan requiring the Department of Defense to create an O plan to protect the nation's interests in the Arctic. Secretary Carter seems in alignment with Alaska's junior senator.
I appreciate your leadership in this regard. The Arctic is an important region for the United States and actually for the entire world. And so we need to do more there, and I appreciate the fact that you are a champion of that and can consider me a supporter, and I appreciate it. And we'll have a chance actually to discuss that in Alaska later this week.
North Pole City Mayor Bryce Ward has released his annual budget for calendar year 2016. The proposed $5.3 million general fund operating budget is about $82,000 greater than the current spending plan. The budget is due to be introduced to the City Council on November 2nd, with work sessions on the budget beginning tonight and running through Thursday. Mayor Ward says city sales tax revenue, which averages 4% of growth per year, continues to drive the operating budget, accounting for over half of the general fund revenue. He anticipates that trend to continue. The city saw a roughly 20% reduction in property tax revenue in 2015, primarily from the devaluation of the refining units at Flint Hills Refinery. The mayor's proposed budget keeps the city's property tax levy flat at 3.5 mils. However, that comes with the trade-off of suspending fleet and capital fund transfers for 1 year.
So the budget we put together this year doesn't adjust any of the revenues as far as taxation. So no increase in mill rate, no increase in sales tax or any other taxes out there. And in part, we're able to do that by what I'm proposing is suspending our vehicle fleet fund transfers for a year. And not something I'm entirely excited about, but with the understanding that we want to be able to provide those services still and not adjust the revenues, taxes. It's the only way to do it.
Fairbanks area law enforcement agencies will be lighting the way for children enjoying Halloween this Saturday. Operation Glow is a child safety initiative started by the Fairbanks Police Department. Patrol cars will be stationed at several local neighborhoods with the lights on to assist and protect trick-or-treaters. Officers will also be in the streets handing children spooky green lanyard glow sticks to make their presence obvious to drivers. Those behind the wheel found to be cognizant of trick-or-treaters will also be given coupons for local interior businesses. Fairbanks Communications Director Amber Courtney says Operation Glow is instrumental in keeping children safe from motor vehicle accidents and other hazards on Halloween.
It's an opportunity for our officers and our staff to teach the kids and the drivers in our community about being safe during Halloween. Kids are out, they're in costumes, they're walking around in darkened neighborhoods sometimes, and they get excited and they want to run across the street.
Those pumpkins you see everywhere right now are not only decorative, they're also good for you, as Monty Bowen explains in this week's Health Report.
Pumpkins are usually bought to carve this time of year, but registered dietitian Lindsay Malone says when you get one for Halloween decorating, it's worth picking one up to eat, too.
Pumpkin is such a healthy food for you. It's low in fat, high in fiber, and really rich in nutrients. So what that means is for the small amount of calories that you're consuming, you're getting an abundance of really good vitamins and minerals.
Pumpkins are loaded with superpower pigments called carotenoids. They're found in many red and orange foods and have been shown to help improve health. Carotenoids function as antioxidants and help prevent damage to the healthy cells while repairing damaged ones. They also benefit vision and immune system function. Malone says no matter how you slice it, pumpkin packs a healthy punch.
The meat of the pumpkin is going to give you more of the fiber, more of those carotenoids, whereas the seeds will give you some fiber, some protein, and some healthy fats. So you can get health benefits from eating either.
This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building, and by Interior Women's Health, located on 1626 30th Avenue.
All right, Joe Cook is coming up next with a look at your local sports action, including a look into this week's Nana Corner.
That and more with Mr. Cook after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your local Tuesday Sportscast. The Nana hockey team is rested and ready to start conference play this week. In today's Nana Corner, we learn how they plan to continue their success against one of the best teams in the country. Here's more. You could call the Alaska Nanooks the Alaska Giant Killers. Last season, the Nanooks finished the season with a 2-1-1 record against then #1 Minnesota State. Alaska was the only team to have a winning record against the country's top team in more than 2 games. They've had the Mavs number, and guess what? UAF starts WCHA play on the road at Many State this weekend. What's been the Nanooks' secret to besting the Mavs?
I think it's just, the way we play, the style, how we play. We're a hard-working team. We have skill as well, but, I think that, comes down to what we do on the ice. We work hard. We don't really, play as skilled of a game as they do. They kind of back off a little bit when you're throwing bodies and playing fast, so I think that's something we use to our advantage.
It'll be a bittersweet homecoming for Krieger, the Minnesota native, but the Nooks are on the come-up after their first bye week. After losing 2 games in the Kendall Hockey Classic, UAF has regrouped and won the Bryce Alaska Gold Rush to bring their record to 500 at 2-2, and they put their 2-game win streak on the line against the Mavs, who lead the conference with a 2-0 record.
The guys are pretty excited. The first road trip, sometimes it's a little awestruck, but we hope that we can get everyone focused and ready to play, because we got to bring our A game every weekend if we want to be successful this year.
They're a highly skilled team, and I think you got to try and eliminate as much as their transition game as you can, and you definitely got to protect your net. But the smarter you are with the puck and the better you execute with it and have it on your stick, the less chance they're going to have it to score goals. So we've got to be smart and competitive. I think it's a big part of our identity. Our work ethic and our compete need to be there, and I'm looking forward to it.
The puck drops in the first WCHA series for Alaska this Friday at 4:07 Alaska time in Mankato.
Nanook Corner, brought to you by Sports Medicine Fairbanks.
We're about 6 months away from spring and the 2016 soccer season. Some aspiring players got a head start in the last few days thanks to the Beast Mode Soccer Camp. Here's more from Allison Air Force Base. The sport of soccer is growing in the interior, and the local talent got a boost from the Beast Mode Soccer Camp. The 5-day camp concluded today at the Bakersfield House on Allison Air Force Base. David Copeland-Smith brought his camp to Alaska for the very first time thanks to Allison soccer parents. Copeland-Smith started Beast Mode in 2010 and has trained some of the best U.S. players like Alex Morgan, Abby Wambach, and Landon Donovan. He stresses that kids can be just as great or even better.
We do exactly the same drills with them as we do with you. Right? It's about organisation, drive and passion. Discipline and commitment equals success, and that's all we're trying to get into these kids is you're as good as something as you want to be. Everyone's going to tell you can't do it. Everyone's going to say, oh, well, that kid's just talented, and it's a lie. There is no talent. It's hard work.
High school players all the way down to the young club players were definitely impressed with the camp.
It's pretty cool that we get to have, it's kind of like an honor that we get to have him here in Fairbanks to be able to, help us, since he, trained, Alex Morgan and stuff like that.
We did a little scrimmaging at the end of the last 2 practices, and playing against the pros, 2 pros, was really nice and fun.
He was just talking to us about our goals and what we actually want out of it, and just daily goals and to make us better players.
The pros who helped run the camp included Beverly Yanez and Lauren Barnes of the Seattle Reign in the National Women's Soccer League, and former Major League Soccer player Nathaniel Yanez of the Columbus Crew.
Yeah, just trying to inspire them. That, it's okay that there's things that you have to work on. Everyone has things that they need to work on. Just being able to acknowledge those and how can you make them better. There's been some really fun kids out here, whether it's personality, talent-wise, it's such a great mix of kids, and we've just had an absolutely phenomenal time out here.
With soccer camps like this, our young soccer stars are getting the foundation needed to become the stars of tomorrow. Joe Cook reporting. And that's it for sports tonight. Thanks for watching. Mike Schultz is up next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into our Tuesday night edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, talking about the weather, and we have a change in the weather pattern coming our way that's going to result in a little bit of that white stuff. We'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Our photograph night, a very interesting one. This one's sent in by Zinat Khan, and it says, wait a minute, I'm picking up the Animal Channel on these big old monster, this rack on this moose there, with the satellite dish behind it helping out a little bit. Anyway, as always, if you have a photograph, by all means send it to photos@ktvf11.com. Your numbers today, not much of a contrast really. 34 degrees for the high, the low last night 31. The record high 49 in 1940 and 27 below in 1996. And your sunrise and sunset under the 8.5-hour barrier 8 hours and 25 minutes to be exact, a loss of almost 7 minutes from yesterday. On the satellite picture, you can see all the moisture starting to spread up from the south, and some of it is starting to work its way through the passes into the Fairbanks area. Just right now, it is mainly high clouds, but there are some scattered snow showers to the north of us, and some of that might work its way down into our neck of the woods overnight. We'll have to keep our eye on it and see. On the latest satellite and radar interior shot, zooming in on the area, you can see the little blobs of blue right here, indicating where there is some snow shower activity trying to work its way through the hills and the passes there, but not having a whole lot of luck. Now, what's going on across the rest of the state? Well, over southeast Alaska, the rain has returned to Juneau and Ketchikan. Also raining around the Kodiak Island area. In fact, they had a flash flood advisory there for some of the heavy rains that were falling there. In the Anchorage Bowl, 41 degrees, cloudy skies, partly cloudy at Cold Bay, 45. Up and down the west coast, ranging from 41 at Bethel to 34 at Nome. And then again, the cold air trapped in the northern side of the Brooks Range there, 16 degrees at Barrow and 27 degrees at Fort Yukon. Lower 48 weather, well, things have warmed up a little bit in the Seattle area, but still widespread rainfall over the northwest part of the state. And over the southwest, we're looking at temperatures right around the 90-degree mark in Phoenix and the 80-degree mark in Las Vegas. And they're trying to warm back up and dry out over Texas. Denver looking at 61 degrees. Some pretty good strong gusty winds moving across the plains there in the Minneapolis area. Over the northeast, some showers from New York right on down to Washington, D.C. And then skies finally clearing out, and the rainfall that was bringing such flooding conditions is moving rapidly to the northeast and now moving in to the northeast. While out to the west, we're looking at a pretty good flow of moisture moving on shore, which means rain is finally moving on to the west coast. In fact, it's welcome rainfall. It's not going to bring much relief from the drought, and the snow level will be above 7,000 feet, but any rain helps out. And the jet stream, once again, is showing that that's going to be continuing as the moisture moves off the Pacific Ocean and then dives down to the south and then works its way back up to the northeast, showers over the northeast, and locally heavy rain down to the south. Okay, time once again for our kids' weather. And this week we're visiting with the kids from Hunter Elementary School. And tonight, here's a young man with a story about a lightning storm he was involved with.
One time in Korea, there was a flood and a lightning storm. So it has been raining nonstop for like a week. And it started to flood. But it was the worst because we lived on the side of a mountain. Plus it started to strike lightning. A tree fell on my room and the lightning struck the trees behind our house and caught them on fire.
A lot of excitement in that story there. Again, thank you to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And tomorrow night, another young man will be here with a very unique picture that he's drawn and he wants to share with us. Here's your forecast for the Alaska area for the northern sections. Cloudy and cold at Barrow, mostly sunny skies for Nome, and a chance of a little snow at Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we're looking at clouds increasing throughout the day and rain and snow showers at Healy with some snow developing for Delta Junction and Fairbanks by evening hours. Over southeast Alaska, the rain has returned and will continue. Periods of rain for Juneau and Ketchikan. The temperature's around 50 degrees. Over the southwest part of the state, partly cloudy skies at Bethel, but rain showers for Cold Bay, and the rain will continue in the Kodiak region. Over the south central sections, looking at rain showers for Anchorage, periods of rain likely at Valdez and also at Homer. And our forecast for the remainder of the night, we're looking at mainly just cloudy skies and cool temperatures to continue. 26 for the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast, cloudy skies with snow developing by late evening, 38 degrees, and the extended forecast. As you can see here, snow is expected to continue for Thursday and Friday, taper off a little bit for Halloween, cloudy skies for Sunday and Monday. And then we're looking at temperatures once again for overnight lows dropping down to 10 degrees Halloween night and only 14 degrees for Sunday night. So we are looking at snow, but we're also looking at cold temperatures moving in.
But that's actually a good thing. We need that insulation.
Yep.
A couple of inches and for the freezing pipes and all that kind of stuff.
Maybe 2 to 4 inches possibly by Friday.
Oh, wow. That's sizable. We're not used to it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
And tonight on NBC Nightly News, new polls out are asking the question, is this the beginning of the long-predicted Donald Trump flameout? That's up next with Lester Holt.
Mike Fuss will be here tomorrow morning during the Today Show with news updates and school bus schedule changes.
All righty, from all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a good night.
Good night.